Hey, good morning, everyone. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
So happy to be here. Good Saturday morning. I hope we all had a restful weekend. It's so awesome to be on this, to be awake and be alive today. I want to thank everyone who has been on this series with us, the Mastermind. We started like 3-4 weeks ago, and we are almost wrapping up. We're actually working on the book, putting your dream to test. How are your dreams? This is the first quarter almost going to an end. January, February, March, 90, is it 92 days or 91 days? In the first quarter, almost coming to an end. So what have you done with your goals? Have you checked up your goals? Have you gone back to evaluate them? Have you gone back to revise them? So the last week we had the people's question, and that's chapter 6. And chapter 7 was the cost question. It says, bringing people who will help you, achieve your dreams. So I think the most important person in the chain is the people. The people really matters. The people really matters. See, if your dream is just big enough for you, then you don't have a dream. And it says someone have a dream, but someone have the dream, but have no one to help, as no team in achieving the dream. That dream will come to an halt. That dream will not work out. Some people have a dream, but they have a bad team. Some people have a dream, but they have a great team. They are building a great team. That means they have a potential. So there's so much about, having the right team in achieving that goal or that dream. And it's so awesome. But I don't want to keep us, for you to get all what we did in the other series, I would advise that you go back to watch those series so I don't keep you longer than necessary. Debbie, you take over.
All right. So we'll begin this series. I don't have my syllabus in front of me, so this particular section of the series is based on what? What were we going to do today?
So we're going to be talking about the tenacity question and the fulfillment question.
Okay. Well, everybody really pay attention to this because these courses have so far been so amazing. The information that you need in order to build a life, build your dream, to go forward. Tenacity is very, very important. It's a strength that most people don't even recognize that they have, but it's an inner strength. And today's lecture is going to be based on that. It's going to be life changing. Take notes, be prepared with your questions when we come back. We'll go over them as quickly as we can. All right, back to you, Sandra. Let's start with
Yeah,
the.
we just dive in now.
Okay.
Number 8 is the tenacity question. Am I moving closer to my dream? Skip the next couple paragraphs and go to number 1. To move closer to your dream, recognize that quitting is more about, oh, this is huge. Are you ready? I'm going to read it again. I'm setting you up. To move closer to your dream, recognize that quitting is more about who you are than where you are. Wow. People say, well, I quit because I hadn't achieved much or I was so far from the top. No. When you quit, it's not about where you are, it's about who you are. And can I tell you something? When you go to your next job or you go to your next dream thing, whatever that happens to be, can I tell you something about you? You'll quit there too. It's about who you are. I run people all the time. Well, I'm going to go find something. I'm going to go find a company that I can really pour my life into. Can I tell you something? If you pulled your life in the last company, you'll pull your life in the next company. You're just going to be pulling your life. You're just going to constantly be pulling back. You understand? Okay, who you are, not where you are. Everyone faces difficulty. Let me stop here for a moment. How many of you have faced difficulty? You definitely? Okay. Everyone faces difficulty when working toward a dream, and if someone fails, he can make excuses for what went wrong, how the unexpected happened, how someone let him down, how circumstances worked against him. But the reality is that the external things do not stop people. It's what happens to them on the inside. Here we go. Most people stop themselves from reaching their potential. Yep. Wasn't the challenge that beset me. It wasn't what was before me, it was what was inside of me. Number 2, to move closer to your dream, improve your vocabulary. In pursuit of my dream, one time I was having a discouraging period, and I was thinking seriously of quitting. And one day I opened my dictionary and I went to the word quit. And I got a pair of scissors. And I cut it out. And from that moment on, I said, quit is not in my dictionary. Maybe in yours, maybe in your life, but it's not in mine. What was I doing? I was changing my vocabulary. I was moving away from things I should not say to things I should say. And notice the difference in these phrases, and I'm not going to go too many of them because, my goodness, there's a bunch of them. The can't person who says, we've never done it before, versus the can-do person, we have an opportunity to be first. We don't have the resources, versus necessity fuels invention. There's not enough time, versus we'll change how we work. We've already tried that, versus we've learned from the experience. It's a waste of time, versus think of the possibilities. We don't have the expertise, versus let's network with those who do. And it goes on and on and on. You got to change your vocabulary. Does that make sense? Number 3.
I want to take us back on this. This is a critical one that everyone is
the can-do
engaged in.
person. We have an opportunity to be first. We don't have the resources, versus necessity fuels invention. There's not enough time, versus we'll change how we work. We've already tried that, versus we've learned from the experience. It's a waste of time, versus think of the possibilities. We don't have the expertise, versus let's network with those who do. And it goes on and on and on. You got to change your vocabulary. Does that make sense? Number 3. To move closer to your dream, recognize that waiting for everything to be right is wrong. Wow. I wish I'd have heard that when I was younger. I wish that I'd heard somebody, I wish somebody walked in my life and said, John, let me tell you something about your dream. If you're going to wait for everything to be right before you take off, you'll never take off. Because waiting for everything to be right is wrong, because nothing will ever be completely right before you start. Are you with me? Back to Jack Canfield's book, I love this. He said, it's time to quit waiting for perfection, inspiration, permission, reassurance, someone to change, the right person to come along, the kids to leave home, the more favorable horoscope, a new administration to take over, an absence of risk, someone to discover you, a clear set of instructions, more self-confidence, the pain to go away, add others on your list. You got it, don't you? Number 4, to move closer to your dream, change your thinking. As you know, I teach that the greatest gap between successful and unsuccessful people is how they think. This goes a little bit to changing your vocabulary, change your thinking. John Wooden said things turn out best for people who make the best the way things turn out. Number 5, to move closer to your dream, recognize the resources for your dream. Stop the moment that you do. Okay, got to teach here. I've got to teach here. Just look at me for a moment. I know it's hard, but do your best, okay? Rest your hand just for a second, then we'll get back into taking notes. Okay. This is the discovery that I have found that is a life-changing discovery in the pursuit of my dream. It's a very simple discovery, but it took me a while to learn it. The discovery is this simple, that as long as I am moving toward my dream and I am pursuing my dream, as I go each step, God will give me the resources I need to make that dream a reality. Here's the key. The moment I stop, the resources stop. It's in moving, it's in the movement that the resources come to me. So here's what happens to us. Many times we stop because we're not where we want to be, and we are a little bit nervous about this situation, and we stop, and sure enough, the resources stop also. And we say, well, boy, I sure did the right thing. Thank God I stopped right when they did, because, whew, I stopped and 2 weeks later, it just wasn't there.
So you can see
13 years ago, I started.
I'll take you back a bit.
It's in moving, it's in the movement that the resources come to me. So here's what happens to us. Many times we stop because we're not where we want to be, and we are a little bit nervous about this situation, and we stop, and sure enough, the resources stop also. And we say, well, boy, I sure did the right thing. Thank God I stopped right when they did, because, whew, I stopped and 2 weeks later, it just wasn't there. "13 years ago, I started an organization which is the absolute passion of my life, called Equip. We train over 100 leaders, and we've trained over 3 million leaders in over 100 countries. Our teaching material now is in 49 languages. We're now teaching and training 1 million leaders a year. It has become an amazing movement. Recently, I was with 300 major donors with my organization out in Pebble Beach. We every year have a Pebble Beach event, and people come and literally commit hundreds of thousands of dollars to this wonderful cause. And I was getting ready to stand up and teach them for maybe not long, 15 minutes, about what's happening with Equip and the dream and the whole deal. And as I looked out at the banquet crowd that night, I realized something that was very humbling to me. 95% of the people in that room I did not know when I started on my dream journey. 95%. I didn't know them. And now they're on my team, in the middle of the dream, literally helping me, because without them it would be totally impossible. They're literally coming alongside of me and helping me realize my dream. And 95% of them I didn't even know. I mean, if they'd walked by me, I didn't know who they were. And now they were God's gift to me because I kept pursuing the dream. Now let me tell you something that's really exciting. 5 years from now, when I'm at Pebble Beach, the percentage will be higher. And there'll be more. But it's because I kept moving. When you stop moving, the resources stop within your life. Number 5. I did 5. It's just so good I wanted to do it again. It's because I'm a mental retard, that's why. Number 6. To move closer to your dream, practice the rule of 5. What's the rule of 5? Scholastico said, if you would go every day to a very large tree and take 5 swings at it with a very sharp axe, eventually, no matter how large the tree, it would have to come down. It's that swinging 5 times a day. Now, the rule of 5 is very simple. Every day, do 5 things that help you get closer to your dream. Every day. Every day, take the axe to that tree, and you don't have to do 500 swings the first day. You don't have to knock the tree down the first day. Just take 5 swings every day, and eventually, not only will the tree come down, eventually the dream will become a reality. That's why every day I read, file, think, write, and ask questions. Every day I read, file, think, ask questions. I do every day 5 things. Why do I do those 5 things? Because I know if I keep doing it, file, think, write, and ask questions. Every day I read, file, think, ask questions. I do every day 5 things. Why do I do those 5 things? Because I know if I keep doing those 5 things, a book will be born. People say, John, how do you write so many books? 1 word at a time. Every day. Now find what you need for your dream, and every day just practice the rule of 5. Number 7, to move closer to your dream, remember that when you have exhausted all possibilities, you haven't. When you've exhausted all possibilities, you haven't. But haven't we all thought we did? Haven't we all thought, boy, I've given this all the time and all the thinking, and I've exhausted. And then somebody comes along, and in about a 5-minute conversation, they give us a creative thought. We say, oh my goodness, I could do that. So no matter how much we think that we've come to the end of ourselves, we haven't come to the end of the road.
Awesome. Deborah, you want to say something before I go on?
That's just an amazing word. Just those few tips are amazing. Quitting is about you and who you are. Every day, do the 5 things, 5 swings at the tree. These are amazing tips, not just for your dream, but for your entire life. I'm so thrilled by what he is saying. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, and what I got from number 6 is about consistency.
Right, consistency is important.
Yes, because doing 5 things every day talks about consistency. How consistent are you? Not doing 5 today, doing 1 tomorrow, but ensuring that, just a moment, ensuring that every day you are consistent at what you do to take you to your dream. Sometimes people do some things, some tomorrow, 1 week, 2 weeks to take a break. But he's speaking about consistency. You know, what are those things you need to get closer to your dream? I said, remember that when you have exhausted all possibilities, no, you haven't. Meaning there is still more. There is still more. Awesome, awesome. This has been a great teaching. So
yes, it is.
While you ask and check if there's questions, let me get the other video ready.
All right. Does anyone have any questions today? We're happy to answer them because this, again, is an amazing series. It's life-changing. It's life-affecting. Even if it's not life-changing to you, it's life-affecting. You can't avoid being positive after hearing this series. And Sandra, I see now that you are ready, so I'll be quiet so that you can start up again.
Awesome.
Question number 9 is the fulfillment question. Does working toward my dream bring satisfaction? There's always a huge gap between the birth of a dream and the achievement of that dream. The question you have to ask yourself is whether it will be a fulfillment gap or a frustration gap. If it's a frustration gap, you will be miserable most of the days that you're in it. And every day that you are frustrated instead of fulfilled, you lessen the odds that you'll be able to keep moving toward your dream. Seth Godin calls this gap between when you set out to do something and when you actually start to see significant results as the dip. And I have a picture of the dip where we start off and it kind of goes well, and then we begin to decline. And here's what you got to go. You got to go through the dip before you realize your dream. Next paragraph. I would say that the dip represents both the adversity one must face and the learning curve one must overcome to achieve the desired results. So let me give you some thoughts about this issue of tenacity. Number 1, and fulfillment of the dream. Number 1, fulfilled people understand the difference between the dream and its realization. There's the dream, and then there's a realization. Fulfillment of the dream. The adversity one must face and the learning curve one must overcome to achieve the desired results. So let me give you some thoughts about this issue of tenacity. Number 1, and fulfillment of the dream. Number 1, fulfilled people understand the difference between the dream and its realization. There's the dream, and then there's a realization of the dream. There's a difference between ideal and actual. Ideals is what could happen if everything was perfect, and actuals is what will happen because everything is not perfect. Again, at the beginning of our dream, what do? We focus on the ideals. As we're in the middle of the dream, we begin to focus on not what is ideal, but what is real. That's part of the dip. Number 2, fulfilled people understand the size of the dream determines the size of the gap or the size of the dip. Now, we got to talk about this because this one's important to us. We talk about was it Jim Collins that made famous the BHAG? You know, big, hairy, audacious goals. You got to have big, hairy, audacious goals. Can I tell you something? If you have a big, hairy, audacious goal, let me tell you what I guarantee will happen. You'll have a big, hairy, audacious gap. In fact, can I tell you something? The bigger the goal, the bigger the gap. That's just the way it works. So if you're really pursuing something amazingly, unbelievably difficult, I just want you to know that the gap between what is and what is ideal, what is and what you want to be is going to be absolutely huge. And it's just it's okay. It's part of the process. And fulfilled people, here's the difference. Fulfilled people, when they're in the middle of their dip, are still fulfilled. Unfulfilled people are frustrated. Number 3, fulfilled people appreciate each step in the journey. The twin killers of success are impatience and greed. And they just understand. And they appreciate each step of the journey. A question that I'm often asked is, people come up to me and say, well, I'll bet you're more fulfilled today than you ever have been before. And I always surprise them and say, no, not really. Can I tell you something? I was as fulfilled in Hillham, Indiana on day 1 when I had 3 people in the church. And 2 of them were Margaret and me. I was as fulfilled that day as I am today. Fulfillment has nothing to do with results. It has everything to do with who you are. I never despised the beginning days of my dream. I never look back and say, boy, am I glad that's over. No. Every dip that I went through, every valley that I went through had something to teach me that if I wouldn't have gone through it, I would not have been the person that I am today. I won't read that thing on John Wooden. It's several paragraphs, but let me just condense it for you because he's been a mentor of mine. I've asked him on a couple of occasions, if you could go back in one day of your life, what would it be? And he said, John, it wouldn't be winning the national championship. He won 10 of those. It wouldn't be holding up the trophies. It wouldn't be tearing down the nets. It wouldn't be all the publicity that comes with it. He said, if I could go back to one day in my amazing career, he said, I'd go back to a day when we were on the basketball court. It's not a game. We're just practicing. He said, that's what gave me fulfillment. Not winning the game, not playing the game, but practicing. He said, I realized if we practiced well, we would play well. And I just enjoyed the practice. That's the way it should be with you. It's the way it should be with your business. You just enjoy the process. That's fulfillment. Number 4, fulfilled people make new discoveries while living in the gap. In other words, while they're in that dip and in that gap, they begin to understand and learn things. You have, in your notes, you have the potential to make many wonderful discoveries in the pursuit of your dreams. None will be greater than what you discover about your discoveries while living in the gap. In other words, while they're in that dip and in that gap, they begin to understand and learn things. You have, in your notes, you have the potential to make many wonderful discoveries in the pursuit of your dreams. None will be greater than what you discover about yourself. And I will promise you, you'll discover more about yourself in the dip than you will in the peak. Number 5, fulfilled people buy into the natural law of balance. Life is both good and bad. You'll discover more about yourself in the dip than you will in the peak. Number 5, fulfilled people buy into the natural law of balance. Life is both good and bad. Optimists tend to think that life is all good, and pessimists think that it's all bad. But reality is neither is right.
I didn't get
Life
that
is
one.
both.
I'm sorry. I have to go back
Only
to
you
it.
will in the peak. Number 5, fulfilled people buy into the natural law of balance. Life is both good and bad. Optimists tend to think that life is all good, and pessimists think that it's all bad. But reality is neither is right. Life is both. Only people who accept and embrace that truth are able to find fulfillment. Why? Because people who accept it but don't embrace it become apathetic, meeting every difficulty with a shrug and a sigh. They may survive, but they will not be successful. To reach a dream and to be fulfilled in the process, one needs to be proactive in bad times as well as good. Here we go. Here's the important part right here. One of the things I've observed about successful people over the years is that they do what is right no matter how they feel, and by doing right, they feel good. On the other hand, unsuccessful people wait to feel good before they do what is right, and as a result, they neither do what is right nor feel good. Question number 10. This is the last question. You're about to finish the dream test. How you doing?
We
Okay?
are doing
Got one more question.
great.
Huh?
Awesome.
Not going to give up now, are you? Huh? Going to finish off.
Awesome. Awesome. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Awesome. Oh my God. We have to go back to this again. Today we spoke about that's chapter 8 and chapter 9. The tenacity question. Oh my God. Am I moving closer to my dream? These are questions, right questions we need to ask ourselves on a daily basis. It might be weekly. Am I moving closer to my dream? He said to move closer to your dream, you need to recognize that quitting is about who you are and not where you're going. It's about you. So a lot of times people just quit on their dream, not because they want to, but it shows that this is who this person is. It says the Lord. So everyone faces the difficulty with working towards their dream. There will always be challenges, but what you do with those challenges will make you all they will mar you. Was so great. And it says improving your vocabulary. Quitting should be out of your dictionary. It says, man, so when you take such words out of your dictionary, you will never quit. It says change your words. It's like we have the resources. Oh no, we don't have the resources. We can't do it. So change it to, oh, we have the resources and we can invest in invent. It says some will tell you that it's a waste of time versus we can invent new ways of doing it. So change your vocabulary. Things I cannot, it's not possible, it's not achievable to, oh, you can do it. We can invent it. We can be the first on the chain to do it. Number 3 says recognize waiting for everything to be right is wrong because there is no time you will ever get anything to be right. Otherwise, you will not achieve your dream. He said, if you wait for everything to be right, you will never take off. Even the plane doesn't wait for everything to be right. He said, it's time to quit waiting for perfection, permission, the pains to go before you start. The pains will be there. So you've got to start anyhow, anyway. Change your thinking. The difference between success and successful people is changing your thinking. So you have to change your thinking. And it says, recognize the resources of your dream. Recognize. So as long as I'm moving towards my dream, the Lord will bring the resources. So the moment you stop moving towards your dream, the resources will never come. He spoke about his testimony. He said, every year, he gathers a few people who are supporting over 300 donors towards his dream. Then he looked into the all. He said over 95%, he has never met them. So that means if he never took up his dream and started running with it, those people, God wouldn't have brought them his way. He said the moment you start waiting for a perfect timing, you will never move towards your dream. He says those people will come along the way. Because it's whilst moving, he said it is in the moving that you get the people. The moment you stop moving, nobody comes close to you. And he talks about the practice, the rule of 5. He said, do 5 things every day that will take you to your dream. He gave his own example. So you find out, what do you want to achieve this year? What are the 5 things that are required for me? to get to my dream. He spoke about himself. He said, I read every day, I file every day, I think every day, I write every day, and I ask questions every day. He said he found that doing that every day, he was going to burn a book. And that's why people wonder, how are you writing books? He said, because I'm reading, I'm filing, I'm thinking, I'm writing, I'm asking the right questions. And that's why he has a lot of books. So what are you doing right now? What are your dreams? What are the 5 things that will take you to your dream? He said, do them consistently every day. To me, what that said to me was consistency. You don't start today, stop tomorrow. If you're going to be reading every day, tell yourself 30 minutes every day, you're going to be doing this. And it is in the consistency, not about in the starting. Everybody starts a thing, but not everybody gets to the end. So you can start and tomorrow you stop, but consistency is the key. Now remember that when you have exhausted all possibilities, he said, no, you haven't. So we have that notion, oh my God, I've tried all possible ways. No, there is still some more ways to get in there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And chapter 9 talks about the fulfillment question. Working towards your dream brings satisfaction. He said frustrated people are the ones that are not achieving their dream. That's why they are frustrated. Is a fulfillment gap or a frustration gap. The people you see every day, you will be able to tell that this person is living a fulfilled life versus the people who are very frustrated, who say nay, they're naysayers, they're not happy. That's because they are far from the dream. He says the adversity, the deep, when you get into the deep, he said the deep is the adversity one must face. He said the learning curve is what you must overcome to achieve your desired results. And he gave about 4. He said the people living a fulfilled life. He said the fulfilled ones understand the difference between dreams and realization. You could be dreaming and there are no actions in achieving your dream. He said, you know the difference. And he spoke about understand the size of the dream. Understand the size of the dream. The big audacious goal requires the big audacious sacrifice. So the bigger the dream, the bigger the work to do. And it says, appreciate each step of the dream and the journey. You're going to go through journeys. And it said fulfillment has nothing to do with the results. It has everything to do with who you are. So practice well and play well. So if you don't practice well, there's no way you can play well. Make new discovery. Number 4, while living in the gap. It says your potential in discovering, the potentials in discovering your dream is in the deep. You discover more about yourself in the deep than in the peak. Oh my God, this is awesome. Meaning when you're going through difficult moments, that's when you discover more of yourself. Not when you're rising, not when you have arrived. So when you go through moments like this, things are a bit hard, you're working so hard, you're not getting results. This is the time to keep quiet and think and look inward. It says, buy in the natural, have a balance. Buy in the natural, have a balance. Know that life is both good and bad. Don't see life as bad, but have a balance. He said, those who accept and embrace that life is both good and bad, move further. But those who do not embrace it, just, merely survive. Awesome. This has been a great session. We have Emmanuel, we have Deborah, and so many other people I cannot begin to call their names. I want to say thank you to everyone making that time for this session. This has been mind-blowing. Please, it is said that repetition is the key to learning. So you might have to go back over and over again to watch this. You're not done yet until you go back. Sometimes you think you've gotten all your from a movie or from a storyline, but if you go back again, you find that there's some things that are missing out. I got a lot, but I will have to go back again. You might have to go back to the series, starting from chapter 1. We're now in chapter 9, so we're moving to 10. And I think next week will be the wrapping session. We're going to be having a great party, get a great time to wrap up. Thank you. You come with all your questions, go through all the series and come prepared. Thank you so much. Before I call it a day, I want to find out from you. Do you have any question?
I don't know if anyone else has any questions, but I do want to say I discovered one other thing during the session when he talked about people who are trying to be perfect. it was really life affirming for him to make note that perfection is just not necessary. We can't believe in perfection. We have to believe in moving forward and being consistent. This, again, I'm saying something I've already said. This is an amazing series. It's life affirming. It's life changing. I hope that everyone is getting something from this, benefiting from the knowledge that is being dropped in all of these sessions.
Awesome.
And I thank you for bringing them to us.
Thank you, Mel.
I think literally you kind of covered everything. But like what resonated with me is what he said that you will discover more about yourself when you're in the deep than in the peak. I mean, that's profound.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really profound. You discover more about yourself when you're in the deep than when you're in the peak. Absolutely correct.
And that's true, because when you are in the peak, you're celebrating. You're just enjoying yourself. There's no time to say, oh, I want to think, am I doing well? No. When you're in the peak, you're finding out what went wrong. What do I need to do better? How do I get over this? How do I not repeat, go back to this situation? There is a lot to learn. Thank you so much, everyone. I don't want to keep you longer than necessary. You have a very good and a restful weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you again.
Bye. Thanks.
Are you thinking of how to publish your book on Amazon, or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.